Okay.
Okay, sir. What are derivatives? Derivatives are financial contracts whose value is linked to the value of an underlying asset.
Okay, so basically, first of all, we must go and understand what is derivative. They are financial contracts. So that means you are entering into a financial contract with someone. Now, Nikita, you would be knowing it because you attended the forex classes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I think Chandra has not attended. Chandra, you know what are financial contract, derivative contracts? Any idea?
No, sir.
Okay, no issues. So I'll just discuss. So these are basically financial contracts whose value is linked to the value of an underlying asset. Okay, so basically it can be either a stock, a particular stock like Reliance or any share, or it can be gold, or it can be any commodity. It can be the forex, the US dollar, or it can be any currency. Okay, so they are linked to the underlying asset. Fine. They are complex. Yeah, read them, Nikita.
They are complex financial instruments that are used for various purposes, including hedging and getting access to additional assets or markets.
So basically, the purpose of these, derivative is the main purpose is for hedging. Okay. And of course, we can always use it for speculative purposes of for making quick money and, to get to access to certain assets or some markets. So basically, derivatives is a medium through which we have access to various kinds of assets or markets, and which we'll dwell upon as we go along. Okay.
Most derivatives are traded over the counter, OTC.
OTC. So, most of the derivatives which for example, a forward contract would normally be traded on over the counter. That means, if you have to take a forward contract to hedge your exposure, you go to a bank, okay, for that purpose. So that means it is called over the counter, where, you do those kind of transactions with, a party, okay, which can be a bank or, any institutions or any, broker. So you can enter into those, contracts over the counter. But we are not going to, do those derivatives which are traded over the counter at the moment. We will be just focusing on the second types of derivatives. Read this.
However, some of the contracts, including options and futures, are traded on specialized exchanges.
So basically, we'll be, most of the time we'll be focused on the second part of it, that we will be dealing with those contracts which are called futures and options, which are traded on this specialized exchanges. So basically, it can be a Bombay Stock Exchange or it can be a National Stock Exchange. So we'll be talking about those derivatives, and we'll be focusing more on futures and options in this part of the semester. In the next, we'll talk about the OTC little bit and then the swaps. Nikita?
Types of derivatives: forwards, futures, options, and swaps.
So basically, there are four kinds of derivatives. Forwards. So we had some idea of those, contracts in our forex class, but we will be talking about these more and understand them in our next semester further. But in this semester, we'll be focusing on futures and options mainly, and the swaps also will be part of our study in the next semester.
Forwards and futures. These are financial contracts that obligate the contract's buyers to purchase an asset at a pre-agreed price on a specified future date.
So basically, as I said that, we will be, focusing on basically futures and forwards. Future and options. But, let's to understand forwards and futures first. So these are basically financial contracts that obligate the contract buyer to purchase an asset at a pre-agreed price on a specified future date. Okay, which means that if I have to buy, for example, anything in future. Okay, suppose I have to buy, I am an importer and I have to pay some dollars. Okay, suppose it's a $1 lakh worth of goods which I have imported, but that money is payable in the month of March. Okay, so today we know that the today what is the rate of the dollar? Chandra, just look at the Google. Tell me what is the rate of a dollar versus rupee.
Sir, approximately 71, I guess.
No, it should be around 74 or thereabout. If you check in the Google, you'll find the real rate. So just check and let me know.
Yes, sir, it's 74.79.
It is 74.79, but it keeps fluctuating. Okay, so it will change after every second, after every minute. So the dollar versus rupee is quite volatile and it keeps changing. Okay, if you look at after 1 month, it may be something else. And normally the dollar, the trajectory of the dollar is that dollar basically appreciates against the rupee over a long run. And we can always say that the rupee depreciates against the dollar. So if the rupee depreciates, the dollar appreciates. So if I have to pay some money, a 1 lakh dollar, say in the month of March or April, for example, so will be the rate will be the same or it will be different, Chandra?
So I think the rate will be different.
Yeah, it will be different. And if it is 74.79, so definitely it will be much higher than 74.79. The likelihood is that it will be higher, but we can't guarantee that. Okay, so let's go to the Google and see dollar versus rupee first. How it has behaved in the recent past. Why am I this is now? Chalo. So this is US dollar versus rupee INR. Are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen
Yes,
here?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it is 74.80. When you last saw it was 74.79. So if you see the dollar is, not same. If you look at, this is a 1 month chart. If you look at, a 5 year chart, so it is basically all over the place. Okay. But if you look at, a 5 year chart or a maximum chart, then you will find a long period time the dollar has appreciated. So over a long period time, the dollar always appreciate. So about in 1995 it was 40 rupees a dollar, and today it's almost double. It's around close to about 74. It touched 75 also. Okay, various rates. So at times, but what is the trajectory of dollar, Chandra? Is the dollar appreciating or dollar depreciating? What can you see on the screen?
So the dollar is appreciating, sir.
Dollar is appreciating. Okay, but if you look at 1 month chart or a 1 year chart, so what do you find here? Is it appreciating? Is it range bound, or is it rupee dollar is depreciating? So when you say range bound, that means neither going up nor going down. So in 1 year's time, so what is the situation here, Nikita?
Sir, in 1 year time it is range bound, sir.
In 1 year's time, it is range bound, as we are saying. Okay, but normally we don't witness this chart. We will find dollar being appreciated over a year's time. But last 1 year, the dollar has remained quite range bound, and one of the reason has been basically when we get dollars from abroad, basically the rupee appreciates. Okay, when people buy dollars, then the dollar appreciates. Okay, so there is always a buying of dollar and selling of dollar which is happening in the market. Fine. So it seems that though the dollar should have appreciated, but it hasn't. So the main cause can be what? Can you think about any cause, Chandra or Nikita? What can be the main reason why the dollar has not gone significantly up, or not even gone down, nor appreciated, nor depreciated, slightly on an appreciating trajectory, but still it is range bound, as you said. So what is the reason behind this kind of phenomena? Now the reason is if you can think about in a minute's time, you can let me know, but then I'll just tell you. Can you think about anything, Puru, निकिता, उदित,
Yes, sir.
या एनीवन?
Yes, sir.
क्या रीजन हो सकता है कि डॉलर इतना ज्यादा appreciate नहीं हुआ है, I mean, in the 1 year's time?
I think because of the COVID, people are not buying that much of dollar, so it is not appreciating
हाँ, तो
that much.
what you are saying is basically because of the low business activity which is happening. That is the
Yes, sir.
okay. Now if we look at of course that can be a cause, but I don't think that has played so much in the market. But last 1 year, if you see, the Indian stock markets have gone up, okay, tremendously. So that means the foreigners are buying a lot of Indian stocks. They are putting a lot of money. That we are getting a lot of money through through the FII route. So you can just Google and find out what is the FII inflow in India. Okay, so FI in the last year, FII inflow. Okay, in India in 2021. Okay, so it will be like waves of foreign portfolio worth 51,000 splashed into the Indian market in 2021. So that means how much money has we have got in the last 1 year in terms of rupee? Puru, कितना पैसा है?
51,000.
So
51,000
51,000
crores,
crore.
yeah, 51,000. But if you look at the same trend in 2020, so how much was received uh, um, last year? So the like-to-like comparison will be 27,500 crores. Okay, fine. So this is nothing but 27,000, and this year it is almost double. 51,000 crores. So last time it was close to about let's say if this figure is 27,000 crores, 2.75 trillion. Okay, which is 27,500 crores. So in which year we have got more money? Last to last year or 2021?
2021, sir.
So that means if we have got a lot of money, which is almost to the tune of doubling of the money, in terms of there is a lot of demand of rupee in India, so which has kept the dollar under check. If we have a lot of money coming in from outside, that means there is a lot of demand of the rupee which is generated, so which keeps the rupee in good shape. Okay, so which can be one of the reason. Okay, or even the FDI investments might have be there, so there can be a lot of factors. But normally the Indian currency is basically a depreciating currency because our balance of trade is negative. We do a lot of imports compared to the exports. So the gap between the import and export is about 10 to 15 billion dollars every month. So which is a lot of money. Okay, so that means our exports are less compared to our imports. The gap is around about 10 to 15 billion dollars. So if we can look at the trade gap in India, let's see if we can find something. So India trade deficit widened sharply to $22 billion. Okay, I was talking about 10 to 15. So it was, the import had jumped by 40% almost. Okay, so that will lead to what? The appreciating of rupee or appreciating of dollar? Nikita?
Sir, appreciating of dollar.
Because yeah, that's absolutely right. Because if there is a lot of demand of dollar, because our imports are far more than our exports, and the figure is about it was $20 billion in the month of December, and normally it ranges between 15 to $20 billion every month. And what is the main source of our imports? सबसे ज़्यादा import क्या करते हैं हम? What is our main item of what we import from outside?
Sir, crude oil.
Crude oil. So it's about close to about $150 billion per annum kind of a requirement we have. So which is about 15 to 14 to 12 to 14 billion dollars of oil is imported every month from abroad.
Sir, even we import coal also in a large quantities.
We import a lot of things. So of course, as you said, rightly said, that it is basically the crude oil which remains the highest this thing, and then gold also. You said gold?
No, sir, coal.
Even actually the second number will be gold. Okay, if we have to look at the list of the highest imports, so the top of the bracket will be the oil, and second will be the gold, and coal will be also there somewhere. We don't know at what level, but coal also we are importing. Okay, so so our imports are much higher than our exports, which puts a lot of pressure on Indian rupee, and Indian rupee is likely to go, I mean, of course, the dollar is likely to appreciate against the Indian rupee. So now coming back to our, subject, basically. So if we have, some money in payable, Chandra, I'll just ask this question to you. Are you hearing with me? Are you hearing?